see if I could come up with the reason that these attacks were happening, just because he felt that it was something that had happened when the dog was a puppy.
Yeah.
And the humans couldn't figure anything out. So I was sitting there with him, and I just tried to get very calm and centered and quiet. And I started hearing, it was as if I were listening to the soundtrack of a movie. I didn't see any pictures, but I was hearing sound. And what I heard was people running and dogs barking and just this constant alarm going off. And I interpreted it as a fire alarm. And what it sounded to me like it was an emergency in a dog shelter or something. So I asked them if she'd come from the pound, and they said, "Oh, no, she came to us from a breeder as a puppy."
Yeah.
I finally just said, okay, what I'm hearing is something that sounds like a fire alarm, and all sorts of panic and just noise going on. And the couple looked at each other, and then the woman said, "Oh, well, could it be a security alarm?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. It sounds like some sort of alarm, fire alarm, something." And then she said, "Well, there was a time that we were out to dinner, and our security alarm went off. It was a false alarm, but the police came, and they were pounding on the door, and the dogs were barking. And the veterinarian perked up, and he said, 'How old was she?' And they said, 'Oh, she was just a puppy.' And he went, 'Oh, that's it.' So to them, this is my perfect example, because to the people, it was a false alarm. It meant nothing. But to this dog, it was, 'Oh, something's wrong. I'm supposed to do something. What am I supposed to do?'
And she was picking up the emotions of the other dogs. And
yes, and
the matter.
And she was she's the dog that takes care of her family, and so she felt responsible that she was supposed to do something, and she didn't know what to do. And every time she would hear something that sounded like that alarm, it would bring that panic back.
Yeah, like I'm supposed to do something, and what am I supposed to do?
That's it. That's exactly it. And the good news is that I was able to just talk to her and explain to her that when she hears these noises, she doesn't need to do anything, that people know how to handle it. She can just leave that to her human family, and that's not her job. So that eased her anxieties.
Okay, that is something for humans to take care of.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, but I know you probably got a lot of other cases like that too, though. But it shows both of them. I think it's good to have verification like that.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't get immediate verification, and it's kind of frustrating, and I don't always hear back from people. So.
That's the same way. I never hear back sometimes too. But we do the best we can, and hope we've done something. But I think you would hear it back if it hadn't worked, if something else was the matter.
I keep telling myself that. Well, they would have called back if that didn't.
Yeah,
but occasionally I'll have someone say, "Oh, so-and-so referred me to you because you told her to do this, and it worked." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
But I know that people use acupuncture on people, but I've heard of them doing some on animals. But that's interesting that the veterinarian is doing that.
Yeah, there are some veterinary acupuncturists. There are not that many in the Midwest yet, but hopefully more people will be looking into that.
Well, I haven't heard of too many that are doing it on animals. Okay, but also in your, the part about your work, you talked about grief counseling. That you do work with grieving? Or is that grief counseling, or what is that?
What it is?
Is that animals or humans that you're working with?
Well, it's a little of both, actually.
Okay, explain what that is.
Okay, this is probably, I would say, it's the most rewarding work that I do, is helping people reconnect with animals that have passed.
ones that have died, you mean? Well, we call
right.
died.
Mm-hmm. Those
that
are crossed over.
They're grieving over the loss of a pet?
Yes.
Okay.
And many times it just helps people to know that the animal has not left. It's just left its body, but is still there in spirit.
Yeah.
And the most rewarding thing for me is if someone phones me and this person is in tears, and by the time we finish the conversation, the person is laughing. So that's a wonderful feeling, and that's the gift of the animals, that they can reassure their people that all I'm doing is reconnecting them.
Okay, because this is, I get people ask me all kinds of questions, and I know the answer to this one, but they're always saying that animals don't have souls, that, not like humans do. They don't have a spirit, they don't have a soul. What do you tell people when they say that? Because, I know different.
Yeah. Well, I try to avoid getting into spiritual arguments with people, but
sometimes it just happens because they can't understand what we do, and so they have to bring it around to their way of understanding, I guess,
And all I can say is that I absolutely 100% trust that our animals have spirits, and they survive, and can wait for us on the other side. Which brings up an interesting...
Some people have asked me, will my animal be there when I cross over?
Okay.
Will I find it again?
This is something that's been much on my mind this year, Dolores, because I've lost... two of our dogs have left us this year. And so I've been thinking a lot about the whole death process and how the animals fit into this. And I absolutely trust that our animals are waiting for us on the other side. But I was wondering how this can be reconciled with the concept of reincarnation, which I also trust.
Yeah.
And I asked my cat, and I should tell
the
you
philosopher. What did the philosopher say?
Yes, the philosopher. The philosopher's name is Connery, and yes, he is named after Sean. He's a very handsome cat. So, Mr. Connery, I asked Connery to explain how do you reconcile the concept of the rainbow bridge, where our animals wait for us, with the animals reincarnating. And he said, what waits for you on the other side is an energetic imprint of the animal in that lifetime.
As you knew it.
Yes, as you knew it. And it's like all the love that you shared with that animal is imprinted. And he described it as being like a hologram, but he said hologram is not the right word. He said you humans don't have a word for it.
Because it's not like something, it's static. It's something you can interact with.
Yeah, he says hologram implies that it's not real.
Yeah. And
he said it absolutely is real. So it's just
you
something.
You can't interact with the real hologram.
Yeah, yeah, and it's an energetic imprint, and we humans don't have any comprehension of that when we're here in physical form. Our little 3D selves don't comprehend this.
A lot we don't comprehend.
Oh, indeed.
Well, then, how did he explain, if that's the imprint, how did he explain the reincarnation part?
Then he says that the imprint is always there waiting for us to greet us when we pass, but the animal's soul is then free to reincarnate.
That's what I found, is that they do reincarnate, and that we have all been animals also.
Yeah, I have gotten into some interesting discussions with people about this. They say, oh, well, animals don't become people and vice versa, and occasionally...
What's that? Hello?
You there?
Hello? Hello?
Hi, are you taking call-ins tonight?
Hello?
Absolutely.
Okay, I was just calling to talk to the pet lady.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're on. Okay, now I see. We've got a...
Yeah, we have a caller.
It doesn't happen often, so I didn't know what it was. Okay, you want to talk to Karen?
If possible.
Sure.
All right, yes. Karen, can you hear her?
I can hear.
Okay, let her go ahead then.
Hi. I was just calling. I would like to look into your classes and that, and I will listen at the end for that. But I just had a question. My Bichon puppy she's 5 years old, but she's been sick again, and she's had stones 2 different times, and they've taken them out. But right now she's sick again, and they said they don't see any yet. But I just wondered if you had any ideas of what might be going on with her.
Well, just like with humans, if you look at the holistic theory of disease in humans, there's usually an emotional aspect. So there may be some chronic emotional thing going on that is causing the problem to keep coming up.
Okay.
I just offhand, right now I am in mind mode so that I can answer questions, and I would have to kind of switch gears to be able to really communicate with your dog. So,
do you want her to contact you after you go off the air?
That's absolutely fine. If you'd like to arrange, what I need to do is get really calm and centered and get into a meditative state in order to talk. Also, it helps me if I have a photograph of the animal.
Okay, all right. I'll just wait for the end of the time, and I'll write everything down. And I do live in the Midwest, so I'll be looking forward to your classes that you might have coming up, okay?
That's great. I'm so glad to hear that. Where are you?
I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Okay.
Well, Karen, can she email you and send you a picture?
Most people do send me pictures by email.
Yep, and I'll get your email address at the end there. I listen to Dolores every week, so.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, we'll give you all the
right before we go off air, we'll tell everybody how to contact you then. Will that be okay?
That'll be perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
God bless.
I understand what you mean. You got to shift gears. You have to go into a different space.
Yeah, because right now I'm in quite a mental space, and it's a matter of being quiet and being very much in the present to connect with the animals.
Yeah. That's good then if she can communicate with you by email or by phone if you want to accept phone calls. Too.
Yeah, and especially with something like a physical problem.
We can give her that information before we're finished then.
Okay.
All right. But we were talking about animals reincarnating, and that's something that I have found to be true because in my work, I do the past life regressions.
Right.
And I have many people who talk about past lives as an animal.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so I know we've all been these things. It's like we have to be everything and do everything before we're finished, and that's what people don't understand.
Yeah, and I also find that people don't understand that we can go back and forth between being human and animal.
It depends on the lesson we're trying to learn.
Yeah.
And in my new book, I'm going to be talking a lot about that, the cases I've had of people as animals, because I want to know what it's like from the animal perspective. And how they see, how they think, how they perceive us.
And that's something that is one of the gifts of doing animal communication, because occasionally I get a chance to see through an animal's eyes.
That's what I mean. I want to know how they perceive things.
As, for example, I can't even remember when or where this happened, but a cat once let me see how we humans look to a cat. And it was
How was that?
It was beautiful. It's just the swirling cloud of the aura, the colored energy, and the
Instead
physical
of a
body.
Form, you mean?
Just
seeing us as a physical form, they see
our energy field first. It's like they were barely registering that there was a body there. The cat was just seeing the energy field. And that's what they interact with, and that's what they read. And that's why they know which people can't be trusted.
So but they know their owners. They know the people that are around them all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't think they